All right, everyone. So we're going to start breaking down the trades from today. I'm going to do a little recap for you, and we're going to go ahead and jump right onto the screen share. I've got a whole lot to cover in this recap. We're going to look at the three stocks I traded: BMR, WHLR, and DSY. And then separately, I'm going to upload another video later today focusing on GameStop, because that is just such a big topic. There are people that want to hear specifically about GameStop and not the others, so I'm just going to separate them. Okay, so this morning sat down, relatively early, looked at the scanners around 6:30, 7 a.m., and at that time, unfortunately, we didn't have a lot on the scanners. The leading gappers, once again, similar to yesterday, were only like 25, 30%. I was like, this is crazy. What is happening? Where did our big gappers go? We're kind of in this lull right now. And I think part of it is because GameStop has been sort of drawing so much attention. But there have also been some penny stocks that are in focus right now. Even though I don't like them, you can see we've got a few that are up quite a bit, lower price stocks. And there's some volume in this area of the market. So my first trade this morning was at 7:26 a.m. on WHLR. And just before I say that, let's look at BMR. Holy smokes, this thing just took a little nosedive. And I'll tell you, this one is actually the stock I made the most on. However, there was a red flag on it today. And as soon as I saw that red flag, I said, you know what, guys? I'm scaling back on this thing. I got to really take it slow. And I'm going to show you what that red flag was, because this was really, it was sort of predictable that it was going to become choppy like this. So hopefully nobody got hurt too badly on this drop. Okay, but let's go back to the first trade of the day. So WHLR. So it's 7:26 a.m. and I've been sitting down at the computer for about 20 minutes. And I see WHLR make a little squeeze up, as you could see. Let's see, it was right here. So 7:25, 7:26. This was where I took my trade. Now, as you recall, I'm saying I'm interested in these, but I want to wait for a pullback. So what I actually was doing was I was looking at the 10-second time frame on this, which is a very short time frame. One of the things that I like about the platform that I've built here for our members is that we use these 10-second charts. So you can actually get really dialed in. And what you'll see here is this arrow right there. So the stock squeezes up from 290 to 3, pulls back just for a second, and I saw it, and I was like, I don't know. Now, the way I found this was because right here, as it was squeezing up, it was hitting my high of day momentum scanners. So this software is searching the market in real time for stocks that are moving higher. And WHLR was at that moment moving higher. So just the way these stocks are on the scanner right now, triggering alerts, and they're audio alerts, which I just muted for this episode. But these alerts go off throughout the day, and they show us when a stock is moving. So I saw WHLR moving. I pulled up the news feed right here, and I was like, well, I'm not seeing a fresh headline, so I'm a little confused, but I'm not going to deny the fact that it's certainly moving up. So it's squeezing up here. It pulls back for just a moment. I say, you know what? I'm going to take a starter right here. I'm going to buy 2,500 shares at 326. My stop is about 319, 315 for sure. So risking about $250, $275 on the first trade. And I'd like to see if this can squeeze up towards 350. Boom. Squeezes to 350, I take the profit off the table, and I lock up $563 on the first trade. So that was my first trade right there. Now it ends up dipping back down here, and it does come back up a second time, but it popped very quickly, and then it dropped back down, and I didn't get back in that second time, and I'll show you why. On the 1 minute chart, it only had one red candle right here, and I felt like it needed another red candle, because when I take this type of trade, just to pull up my whiteboard here, what I would prefer to do with this is to see, green candle, green candle. Green candle's getting bigger in size. When the long bodies, when they get taller, that shows more sentiment. And then a small pullback. But we didn't really have a small pullback. If we look at that pullback candle was kind of big. Right? It was a solid red candle that kind of went straight down like that. And then it had a little bottoming tail. And so now the thing is, if I buy the first candle to make a new high, where's my entry? It's up here. My entry is right here. That's too high for me. I don't want to be buying at the top. So what I would rather have happen is have another candle close down here, maybe something like this, and then be getting in for the first candle to make a new high right in this area. All right. So on the pullback, and then my profit target is looking for a squeeze back through the high up here. So because it just sort of suddenly went like this, I was like, I can't jump in that. It's a little too risky. And I'm glad that I steered clear, because what ended up happening was we had that topping tail. Now, what you may remember about topping tails is that they are bearish because the price squeezes up and then gets pushed back down. So it's not a strong candle to have that topping tail there, and then it pulls back a bit more. Now, as the morning went on, it actually came back up and double topped. I didn't get back in. I suppose I could have, but at the time I was focusing on something else, and it kind of went, and it just sort of, I missed it. And then it pulled back again, and I drew these yellow support lines, and I kind of thought, well, it looks like we're underneath it. Now, I didn't draw this line right here. I drew this line. If we back this up, this line right here was drawn based on this dot and this point. These 2 points are how I drew the candle, drew the line. So then I noticed as it was coming back up, I was like, it looks like we're running into this resistance line. So that shows me that this is a valid line. Price was respecting it. We tried to come back up at the open and then sold off, and that was it. So $563.91 was the most I made on WHLR. Not a huge winner, but green nonetheless. So if we keep track here, what we know is that for those of you guys who've been tuning in for a while, my first daily goal is $1,000. It's a modest first goal, $1,000. I start each day naturally at 0 because I'm not swing trading in this account. This is day trades only. So when I'm between this range, I set a max position. I don't know the best way to draw this, but until I've crossed over $1,000, I have a max of 5,000 shares. Now, in my first trade, I only took 2,500 shares, and that was partly because the volume was a little light and I just wasn't so sure. But the reason I'm going with smaller size is because if I end up taking a loss, and I start the day by going into the red, I want to make sure I'm doing that with relatively small size so I don't go down, if I can help it, more than minus, 1,000. Now, obviously, I've had days where, and I had a day like this last Thursday, where in my first trade, I traded GameStop and I went down $4,000 instantly. I bought too many shares. Even though I stayed under the 5,000 cap, I bought, I can't remember, I think it was 2,000 shares and I lost $2 a share. And I was down $4,000. So this does have, it's not totally foolproof, but anyways, so today on that first trade, I make $250, or sorry, $500. So I made 500 on the first trade, put me halfway to my daily goal. Well, first goal, not daily goal, first goal. And, but not enough to increase share size. So then next trade, I see DSY come up. So DSY is a Chinese IPO. Naturally, I'm skeptical because these have been difficult, but as it's moving up, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll see what it wants to do. Maybe I'll get a chance to ride the momentum. So it pushes up here to a high of 440, 434. I don't buy right while it's squeezing higher. I waited for it to pull back. And so I bought at 408 as it dipped down right here. Okay, so right here, it bounced off of 4 on these candles. And I was like, okay, it seems like it's holding support at 4. So what was the high of this one? 413. So I actually would have gotten in on this candle right here, this red candle. I got in at 408 and it pops back up to 417. And then there was a seller at 420. And I was like, you know what? If there's already a seller, I better get out. I got back out at 408 roughly, and I lost $10.65. Okay, so no big deal. Technically, it's a red trade, but minuscule. I can hardly even see it. So tiny little red trade there. Next trade is BMR. Okay, so BMR, that was the stock we were just looking at the beginning of the recap, which just dropped. This one made a really nice move yesterday after hours. So after the close yesterday, this thing squeezes up from 440 all the way up to nearly 7. Nice move. Pre-market sells off at 4 a.m., right? It's not that strong. But right here, as it broke VWAP, I got in. I said, you know what? I know breaking VWAP is significant, and we're coming into the time of day where there's going to be more eyes on these types of stocks. We don't have anything that's more obvious right now. So I'm going to take a stab. So I took a stab at this, and on this one, I actually went ahead and bought 5,000 shares. So a little bit of a bigger position, my max for this time of day, but I was already at 500 on the day. So I bought 5,000 shares at about 369, 370, something like that. It breaks VWAP, it goes up to 580, goes up to 6. I'm taking profit on that move up. It pulls back, it comes back up to 6. And in this area, I really felt that I wasn't confident that this was going to work. I was just like, I don't know, this just feels a little tricky. So this was the first trade here. And then it pulls back, it comes back up. I got back in right here, and I made almost nothing on that trade. It went up, but then it came back down. And then at the open, right here, I got back in for the break of 420. I was looking for the break of 425, and it came up right to here. No, sorry, I'm sorry. That's wrong. The trade was actually right here on this candle. Sorry, so I got in right here, and I got back out, and then it comes up to 620, sorry. And as it starts to pull away, I added. And on this candle right here, I added, and it hits a high of 630, and it had the highest volume right here on this candle we'd had in quite a while, but it only went up 10 cents a share. And I could tell that there was a hidden seller on the level 2 because there was a lot of buying, but the price was not breaking. And I said, you know what? If there's a hidden seller right here, I better get out and move out of the way because this is not going to be trustworthy. It ends up dropping, as you can see right here. It comes back up. We did get this sort of jackknife move right here. It tries to rally back up, and then it just starts selling off. And it's just clear to me that this has a lot of sellers. So grand total today, $1,610.93. Another kind of small base hit day. I haven't had a nice big green day in, well, I guess I had a nice one on Friday. But anyways, so got myself up to about here, more or less, whatever. My daily goal, optimistically, is 5,000. So, I didn't get up to there today. I just kind of, ran out of steam. And as we're getting a little bit later in the morning, I don't want to overstay my welcome. You'll see no day trades on GameStop. It just, to me, doesn't feel like something that I should really be trying to day trade. It's this combination of the spreads and big orders going through, I think, just make it too risky. So no day trades on that one, although I'll give some commentary on that in an upload that I'll post a little bit later because I do have some updates to share. But nonetheless, a small green day, which is fine. This week has sort of been, now we're already at Wednesday. It's been small green days, but hey, green is good. I can't really complain too much about that. I think that the issue is that GameStop is sort of drawing a lot of attention. We also have some penny stocks that have still been a little bit in focus. And so for the time being, I think the best bet is just to sit tight and not overstay my welcome. Now, I do see DDC having this nice move, which is, kind of a shame because, again, it's a lower priced stock. It's doing these halts. So I saw this one. It's an Amex listed stock, which means you won't see resumption prices. This can be tricky, and these halt very quickly because yesterday it closed below 75 cents. So I don't find that I usually do well trying to day trade these on breakouts, and I can easily get caught in a halt going down. And so I'm trying to just be disciplined about not overstaying my welcome, trading the best, leaving the rest, and reminding myself that generally speaking, it's often just, a few days each month that give me the majority of my monthly goal. And the rest of the days, I'm just showing up, I'm keeping my head above water, making a little money, trying not to do anything crazy. But I have to show up every single day because you just never know which day is going to be, the day where we get some real momentum. If you wait till it happens, you're always going to be missing it. So my approach is to show up every single day, to trade what's in front of me, to trade the market I'm in, but to be careful, not to take too much risk when it feels that it's not going to be the day that I'm setting any records. So I didn't think today was going to be a day I'd set records. I'm happy to walk away with a little more money in my pocket than I had at the beginning of the morning. I like doing that consistently. And then when we have a day where things are starting to really squeeze, we're getting some action, I step up to the plate real quick. I try to rack up $15,000, $20,000 of profit, whatever I can get on that day. And then I go back to laying low until the next big opportunity. So, that's my focus. That's the way I trade. And, as always, if you want to learn more about it, I'll put the link for the 2-week trial at Warrior Trading in the description. It'll be pinned to the top of the comments. And I thank you guys, as always, for tuning in and hopefully hitting the thumbs up and being a subscriber. And I'll remind you that trading is risky. My results aren't typical. So manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you back here. I'll be live streaming tomorrow morning at Warrior Trading for our Warrior Pro members. So I'll see you guys then.